Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Friday wrap up on Streamlined Solopreneur, a short episode where I cover three things: what's on my mind this week, recommended reading, and something fun. This is the show that helps you build systems so your business doesn't depend on you. Hopefully, this week's curation will get you thinking about your own systems before you close your laptop for the weekend. I'm your host, Joe Casabona, and here's what's on my mind for July 24th. 2026. The thing that's on my mind is the simplicity of yellow legal pads. I am a man who has spent $30 to $40 on a notebook, over $100 on leather-bound disc books with refillable pages, and more than I'd like to admit on fountain pens. But over the weekend, I rediscovered yellow legal pads. I needed a notebook and grabbed whatever I found in the first drawer I was near. And I forgot how satisfying it is to use a yellow legal pad. The amount of space I have on it, the fact that I'm not worried about how I'm using it or if I'm using it for the right thing. I stopped using yellow legal pads because most don't accommodate fountain pens, and I like using fountain pens. My complicated approach complicated my whole system, you might say. For the past week, I've only used my yellow legal pad, and it's been delightful. I'm taking a couple of them on vacation with me next week. And I still love fancy notebooks, but in my fancy notebook phase, I fell into the trap of feeling like the notebooks I bought needed to be used for something important, some big idea, my next book, a journal, just something that had gravitas. So it added friction to my process. Every time I needed to do something, I would think, is this the notebook I really want to burn on this random thing? It's been nice to not have to think about where I'm going to write. And if you're listening to this going, Joe, this is a little much. This is a little extra. Yeah, it absolutely is. But I do love a good notebook. I have a fountain pen collection and I love using them. And I still have that paper. I still have those notebooks and I will still use those notebooks. But for everyday writing, for scribbling down whatever I'm thinking, for bringing stuff with me when I want to think without a screen, the yellow legal pad is the way to go. It is simple and it is straightforward and you don't have to think about it. And that's really the hallmark of a good system, right? Reducing the amount of friction between you and the task you're trying to accomplish. Now, I do happen to like thicker paper in general, so I do recommend the AmpPad Gold Fiber legal pads. They're a little bit more expensive than some other legal pads. Like I think Oxford, they make some old standbys. You can get those for like $1.50 each, and the AmpPad Gold Fiber legal pads are like $3 each. But that's okay. I mean, it's a long way from $20 to $30 for a single notebook. So that's what I recommend. I'll have a link in the description as well. But that is what's on my mind for this week. Recommended reading. There is a great piece by Kashmir Hill at the New York Times called I Got Slopped. And it's about how she discovered her biography on Amazon. But it's not something that she authorized or was even contacted or talked to about. No, the book had been totally generated by AI. And she's not the only victim of someone trying to profit off of her story in just the laziest way possible. The article goes on to explore the world of AI book writing, and she even interviews an AI author. Would you believe that most reviews of these AI books, especially from this AI author, quote unquote, are 1 star? I tend to rail against AI writing for us more than most people, right? I constantly talk about how terrible and toxic and destructive it is. And when someone tells me they are using it to write for them, I am not shy about telling them how terrible it is. If you are looking for a shortcut, letting AI take a thought you have and turn it into a series of generic, soulless, statistically likely sentences isn't it. And if you're sitting there going, well, it it's not the LLM, it's the prompt. It's not the agent, it's the prompt. No, it's not. It is that it's a robot, not a writer. And I talk about this because I want solopreneurs to spend their time wisely and doing things to destroy the trust that your clients, your customers, the people you partner with have in you is detrimental to your business. In an age where you can create anything from nothing with a few sentences to a word calculator, the thing that will last is trust and human connection. And you will not get that by telling people you are too lazy to write your own thoughts down. You will not get that by trying to swindle people out of even $10 for a book you are claiming to write that you didn't write or research or review. You will not get that. AI is not the magical shortcut everybody wants to believe it is. It is a tool that is great for certain tasks and not for craft. That is and will always lie with us. Okay, I kind of feel like I need a drink now, which is good because for something fun, I am recommending a piece by Peter Sutterman called Wanna Feel Rich, Drink a Pineapple Cocktail. I enjoy trying my hand at interesting cocktails. I'm not really much of a drinker. I like the craft of cocktails, understanding the ingredients and how the flavors come together to create something interesting. I like the craft part of it. And my favorite cocktail website, Cocktails with Sutterman, has been doing a fantastic series on summery drinks. As I prepare for the beach, I'm checking the most interesting sounding recipes and bringing some ingredients along with me to make cocktails for my wife and her family. I am excited to try a pineapple cocktail. I just had like a pineapple sour beer the other day, and it was just delightfully refreshing. As an aside, I also use Peter Sutterman's eggnog recipe around Christmas, and it is always a huge hit. I mix it exactly the way he says to mix it, and then I age it for 2 to 3 weeks. So I'll usually make it like right after Thanksgiving so that it is ready for an early Christmas party. And it's always such a hit. It's so delicious. There's a lot of sugar, so you got to watch, but it's really good. Okay, and for the automation of the week, I want to talk about episode artwork generation. For the Friday wrap up, you'll know this if you are listening in a podcast player that supports this, but I have custom episode artwork that is just the Friday wrap up logo with the current date underneath it. So, in something a bit meta, I want to talk about a new action I added for my Friday wrap up AI skill, which helps me generate the assets for these episodes and newsletters. And again, this is going back to the AI is for task, not craft. So among other things, Claude has a Canva connector. And when I run the Friday wrap skill, it will figure out the next Friday. This includes Fridays on the day the skill is run, which is usually the case. I record this early on Friday morning, so I can release it by mid-Friday morning. And then it will send that date to Canva, grab my Friday wrap-up artwork template, and change the text on the image to the current date, and then download it. This is a task that I was doing manually and would usually forget until I was ready to publish, when I was prompted by the upload custom artwork field in my podcast host. So this is something that I would forget to do, and then it would, just prolong the process a few extra minutes. But now it's done for me automatically. And since this is done, while the video for this episode is rendering, It's a huge time saver for me. It means all the assets are done at the same time as I'm prepping for them to publish, or as I'm prepping them for publish, I guess I should say. So, this is such a fun one. I'm definitely going to explore using Canva for stuff like this because the main episodes are also just like text or sometimes a headshot, and my VA is doing that right now. But if I could take this task off my VA's plate, I can free her up for other more important work that requires human discernment and not just filling in fields in an image template. So, really excited about this automation of the week. As a quick programming note, I'm on vacation next week, so there will be no Friday wrap up. But I will wrap this one up. Do you have something on your mind? Let me know over at streamlinedfeedback.com. You can write in or leave a voice note. I might even play that voice note on the show. So again, that's over at streamlinedfeedback.com. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, I hope you find some space in your weekend.